Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head up to Landvetter, which is up near Gothenburg here in Sweden, or Gothenburg as they call it in Swedish, but we're going to do my second visit to Duggis Ale and Porterbryggeri, and tonight we're having a taste of the Choose Cherry, which, as you might have guessed, is a cherry flavoured sour beer. And I don't review so many sour beers on the channel for you, but it's a style that I actually find myself getting more and more into. But this one is supposed to be quite different from a lot of other ones you'll come across, and it should be a very interesting review for us. And the last review I did from Duggis was the Tropic Thunder, which was their collaboration with Stillwater Artisanal, and that was a really quite nice beer. So it's convinced me that I need to go and review some more beers from Duggis, and I will do that over the coming videos. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you do want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual website links are in the video description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Duggis before, and as I said, I will add to that in the near future. The Facebook page for the channel is there too, please like it, and also my Untappd profile as well, so feel free to add me as a friend on there. And to my Swedish viewers, I do apologise if any of my Swedish pronunciations aren't quite right, but please do recommend some other Swedish beers you'd like me to have a look at. Always interesting to try beers from different places, and I can see if I can get a few of these different ones through Systembolaget here in Lund. But anyway, to tell you about Duggis Ale and Porterbyrggeri, as I said, these guys are based in Landvetter, which is on the outskirts of Gothenburg or Göteborg in Sweden. But the brewery was established in 2005 in Mölndal by Mikael Ekström Dugge, and since 2010 he's focused solely on the production of top fermented beers. And due to the kind of renaissance that's been enjoyed by Swedish craft brewing in recent years, the brewery soon outgrew their original brewery and moved to Landvetter, where they currently are based. But the older brewery actually had a capacity of only 1,500 hectolitres per year, so a very small operation. But now the new brewery has a capacity of about 8,000 hectolitres, and they're constantly looking to expand that because their beers are proving to be very popular. And they do have quite a fairly good range actually, so just to read those out for you, there's Lager number 1, Post Lager, All the Way, Avon Ale, Family Matters, High Five, Egypt, which is supposed to be a really quite nice beer actually. I want to do that as my next Duggis review, so I'll see if I can get it through Systembolaget. It's supposed to be one of the kind of cult classic beers of Swedish craft brewing these days. But there's also the Ethiopia Gedale, which is also meant to be really nice, the Organic Keller beer, Organic Andrin, and also the Organic Lager as well. So as you can see, a fair little range from this brewery, and as I say, just check out the brewery website in the description below and you can have a look at all these different beers. So anyway, let's actually get on to the tasting of this beer itself now. So this one is a 6% cherry sour fruit beer. It says on the side, Choose Cherry is a sour fruit ale that combines 3 different malts with a rich flavouring of dark sour cherries. The fruitiness is accentuated from acidity from the addition of lactobacillus during fermentation. So should be a really quite nice one actually, and it says 199C on the side. I'm not sure exactly what that means. It tells you on the side it's got corn malt in it, barley malt, brew malt, and some other kind of malt there. And it's got, cherries juice, Schwarzbier is cherries, and it's also, lactobacillus. Tells you all about the things on there. So I'll just let you have a little quick look at the artwork on this one with the camera. There you are, you can see it. All the Duggis beers come in these kind of nice little stumpy bottles there. It's a plain bottle cap on this one, as it was with the last one that I did, but you can see quite nicely presented. It says high hops since 2005, Stark Öl, which means strong beer in Swedish, and you can see on the side 6% alcohol by volume. So should be a very nice one. Duggis Ale and Porterbryggeri, Landvetter, Sweden. So should be a pretty cool one. So let's get this guy cracked open and we'll get on with the tasting here. So as you can see, nice kind of smoky opener on this one, and you can really, as you would expect, you can get a good whiff of the cherries as you open this one out. But this is actually quite an unusual colour for this beer. I was expecting it to be quite a reddy colour, but really it's more, it's really more like a kind of, you could almost mistake that in colour for being a brown ale or something, couldn't you? It's actually really, oh no, now that you can lift it up to the light actually, it does come across as having a bit more of a reddish tint to it. It looked very brown when I was pouring it out there, but as you can see, if I put it over to the light, it actually does have quite a reddy character to it. But to you, I'm seeing in the camera there that it does look a sort of kind of mahogany wood colour, but I can tell you, I'm putting it over here and there is a nice sort of ready tinge. You can actually see it now. I'm just watching the camera there, but it looks very nice. It's not really transparent, but I think that's just due to the colour of it, and there's a sort of, there was about a quarter finger of a kind of frothy white head there, but that's fading away to be a very thin foamy layer now. But the beer looks very nice, and I can tell you the aroma is quite strong from this one. I'm not paying too much attention to it, but the cherries are coming out quite a lot, and it's actually a very nice kind of quite perfumey aroma actually. Just really nice and kind of fruit juice. It actually reminds me of the frozen ice poles that I used to have at home when I was a wee kid. But yeah, so let's have a proper look at the aroma for this one. When you actually put your nose into it, it smells a hell of a lot sharper than it does when you're a bit further away from it. It smells a little bit more juicy, but when you go into it, it becomes a lot sharper actually. So as you would expect, there's a big cherry note from this one. And I want to say there's a bit more candied fruit in there. I don't know whether it's maybe, it reminds me of sort of Haribo sweets, if you like, the sort of cherry Haribo sweets that you get. Kind of a candied fruit. But there's a little bit of a syrupy note coming out of it as well. And it's almost a bit medicinal as well. It's like these kind of cherry throat sweets that you get this one. There's a definite medicinal quality to this beer. And you can pick up a little bit of a slightly bready or yeasty character coming out of this as well, which is quite interesting. But as you would expect, with it being a kind of fruity sour beer, the most prominent component of it is definitely the cherries. And as I say, when you're a bit further away from it, it becomes a little bit more juicy. But as you get closer in, it's definitely just a little bit more of a sort of medicinal and kind of more yeasty note that you get from this beer. But yeah, very, very nice aroma on this one. So without further ado, let's get stuck into this beer. So this is the Choose Cherry from Dugges, who are based in Landvetter, up near Gothenburg in western Sweden. Skål! Now just let your palate, as I always say with the sour beers, one of the crucial things to do is just let your palate adjust to it before you actually think too much about the flavours, because when your palate's adjusting to that, it's a beer, when you take the first sip of it you think, bleh, but then you just have to let your palate adjust and get used to the flavours of this one. And yeah, once you get over that initial sour character to this beer, it is actually really quite nice. It's got a bit more of a kind of bready and yeasty character than some of the other sours I've come across actually. But yeah, in honesty, I'm not even a great fan of cherries as a fruit or the flavour, to be honest. But this beer is actually quite nice, I have to say that about it. But yeah, much like the aroma, you've got a huge cherry flavour in this one. It works really quite nicely. There is a bit more complexity to the fruit than that, I would say. There's maybe there is a definite kind of candied fruit to it. You've got the sour fruit, the sour aspect of the flavour around the very edge of the tongue there, but if you move a little bit further in than that, you've got a slightly more juicy kind of candied fruit flavour to this one. Maybe a little bit of a kind of stone fruit character coming out as well, like plums or something like that. Not really sharp raisins, if you like, but definitely more of a slightly juicier plum, or maybe even a slightly figgy flavour coming out of this. But as you would expect when it's a cherry sour beer, it is mainly cherries you're getting from this one. Yeah, the malt base in this one has got a bit more substance to it than some of the other sour beers I've come across. Like I say, usually the sour beers are very, very sharp and very, very tart, but the malt base in this one is light, but you can definitely pick up the different flavours from it. And there's a few things going on in there. There's a kind of bready, yeasty blanket, and that just goes right across the middle of your palate there. And I want to say there's just a little bit of a slightly caramel sweetness in there actually. Maybe a little bit of grainy character coming out of it as well. Yeah, if you pay attention to the middle of your tongue, you'll definitely get a slightly caramelly, or maybe a sort of kind of biscuity, slightly syrupy, caramelly flavour coming out of this beer. It's really quite nice actually. The flavours blend together quite well, but at the same time, the cherry really does contrast the rest of the beer, but it comes in quite sharp, and then the palate just smooths out and you get some of that bready, yeasty character and a good bit of slightly caramel and biscuity sweetness. Works really well for this actually. But yeah, the bready and yeasty characters with it are really nice. It does come across, as you would expect, as being a little bit kind of acidic-y, but that's exactly what you expect from a sour beer, especially when it's got bacteria added to it like this one has. But yeah, in terms of the mouthfeel of this one, I would say it is really quite light-bodied. It is a bit lighter than some of the other ones I've come across. And the sort of syrupy and medicinal flavours that I was expecting from it, that were quite noticeable in the aroma, don't really show up in it. It is quite light, like around the edges of the tongue there is just a little bit of a kind of dry and bitter character, but at the same time it's quite juicy, and it makes a bit of a transition to being just slightly dry, but the dryness is quite smooth. It's not very sharp like you would get from a sort of floral or aromatic character. I have to admit, really, really quite nicely done, I have to say. But yeah, back to the mouthfeel on this one, I would say, yeah, definitely quite light-bodied, this beer. Moderate carbonation, but overall very smooth. Quite tart and acidic if you like, but not as tart and acidic as some of the other sour beers I've had. It does have a good bit of a juicy mouthfeel to it as well, particularly around the kind of just behind the very front curve of the tongue. Now, that's where a lot of the fruity character's coming out on this beer, but it has got quite a juicy mouthfeel to it, and there's a bit of a kind of malty sweetness just in the middle of the palate there too. As I said, you get that bready blanket, the slightly yeasty character in there too, but there is a kind of a little bit of a caramel sweetness in there too. But overall, it's a really quite nice beer. And as I say, the sour beers probably aren't one of my favourite styles of beer, but you know, this is a nice, quite easily sessionable beer, this, and you know, you could enjoy one or two of these. I quite like tasting things that are different, and I have to admit I have quite enjoyed this one, but I really want to try some of their other styles of beers. I think both beers I've reviewed from this brewery now have been leaning towards the sour side of things, so for my next review I'm going to try something a bit different. I can't remember what style it is, but I've heard it is really quite a nice beer, so I will give that one a go. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this beer review. Been cool to do another sour beer that I've quite enjoyed, and also to revisit the Dugas Brewery. As always, please let me know in the comments section below your own thoughts on this beer if you do happen to have tried it. Always interesting to hear from those of you who are watching the videos and who have tried the different beers. But please, in the meantime, until my next video, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Go and like the Facebook page, subscribe to the channel, and I hope to hear from you guys soon. Slàinte just now.